I've been requested by viewers to comment on various personalities in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. As time goes on, I will be explaining it one by one as they come. If the person you have requested does not appear, it is either I know very little or nothing about the individual. So as time goes on, because I find most of the time when I Google, I find that I have more information than Google. Today, we are talking about Andrew KIMANI Ngumba. Some people have asked me to talk about Andrew KIMANI Ngumba, and it is my pleasure to do that. Andrew KIMANI Ngumba was a councillor in the Nairobi City Council. He was a deputy mayor. He was deputizing Margaret Wambui Kenyatta. After 1974 elections, after 1974 general elections, Andrew KIMANI Ngumba declared that he's going to contest for the seat of mayor of Nairobi. He declared that even before Margaret Wambui Kenyatta had declared that she wanted to defend her seat. There was tension, there was going up and down, and people were asking him how dare he contests against the president's daughter. But he stood his ground. With a special branch around, President Jomo Kenyatta was informed that in a fair fight, in a fair contest between Andrew KIMANI Ngumba and Margaret Wambui Kenyatta, most likely KIMANI Ngumba will win. So what did they do? They told Kenyatta, the good thing about Jomo Kenyatta is that if you compare him, especially with his son and Daniel Arap Moi, special branch used, or the intelligence used to give him ideas, and he could make a decision strictly based on the option that the special branch had given him. It is only once that he disregarded us and went to Kisumu. So what Jomo Kenyatta did, he immediately appointed Margaret Wambui Kenyatta, his daughter, to be the Kenya ambassador to UNEP. So with her being the Kenya ambassador to UNEP, she no longer was a councillor, and so she could not contest the mayor seat. So Andrew KIMANI Ngumba went through unopposed. Then, as a mayor, he was a very popular mayor. He did a lot of good things, left, right, and center, and he became very popular. Then, 1979, he contested Mathare seat and won against Munywa Wayaki. Imagine Munywa Wayaki from the Wayaki family, with all political baggage and whatever, still Andrew KIMANI Ngumba took the seat effortlessly. When he became the MP for Mathare, he started a finance company. Those days the government could not allow the international banks, plus KCB and so on, did not allow for anybody for any Kenyan citizen to start a private bank. So most of these things you started as financial institutions, such things. So he started one which was called Royal Urban Development Bank. It became so popular, it started giving finances to people and it made the president feel, and by president I mean Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, he felt that he was being threatened. So the place was closed, he was harassed, and he ran to Sweden. Later on, he had to come back, but you see, you are coming back when your financial might has been demolished. So he came and became a simple, quiet person. Andrew KIMANI NGUMBA. Peter Munga, when he started Equity Bank, most of the whatever he did was nowadays you call it copy paste from Royal Urban, and that is, and you know, the environment then was a bit better, and that is how Equity Bank started. But Equity Bank, you cannot say it in one sentence and leave it as that. This is how it was. Peter Munga used to work with the government. He was an accountant, a very senior accountant or an auditor in the ministry headquarters in Nairobi. And every time he went home over the weekend, because from Nairobi to his place is not far. So every Friday he would go home. And in those days, coffee farmers used to be paid. Coffee farmers used to be paid through checks, and people did not have accounts. I remember when I opened my first account, 1985, it was really hard to open an account. So when bonus for coffee and tea in Moranga came, the farmers used to be paid in checks, and checks you would have to place it most likely in the cooperative bank. When you place it in the cooperative bank, you wait for a day or two for the check to mature, because the check had to go to Nairobi. They confirm it as money, and then they bring the money. Or if you wanted a quick clearance, you had to pay some money, 200 shillings, and then they would telex the issuing bank, and the bank would confirm the researcher money. And you know, 200 shillings was much. For somebody with a 1,200 check and 200 being removed, it was a lot of money. So most of the farmers used to wait for 2 weeks for the money to come. But here is Peter Munga. Every weekend he would go home, and people would line at his place. He had a bag full of money. What you needed to do was give him your check, sign at the back that you have accepted. I don't know whether today you can have a check in somebody's name and you cash it through another person's account number. I don't think nowadays it is there, but those days people with accounts were few. So you go there, you line up, you give it to Peter Munga. Peter Munga gives you the money, and you give him, is it 20 shillings? Yeah, you give him 20 shillings. Now, in the whole village, everybody giving out 20 shillings. Every weekend, he could get around 500 shillings. And you know, 500 shillings those days, getting 500 shillings per day, per weekend, was a lot of money. So he continued that way until the time when they allowed for building, financial building, whatever, to start. Then he started it as Equity Building. There are those names I can't really recall. So they did that, and that is how he started. And then later on, he got a genius to join him as an employee. The James, the one who is now the CEO. He was employed as an employee, but later on he bought shares, and I think he has the largest share than Munga and so on. Then Munga later retired as the chairman of Equity Bank. So, just like the other tape I said that Gonya Wagakonya, he's the past for Mungiki, but the better past. Ogonyo Agakonya did not bring Mungiki the way we know it today. And then we can also say that Andrew KIMANI Ngumba is the brain behind Equity Bank. Thank you.